Was my family joking? I couldn't believe the small amount they mentioned. Just the other day, my phone was buzzing nonstop with calls from my parents. When I finally answered, they started shouting before I could even speak. At first, I couldn't grasp what my dad was saying, leaving me totally confused. Later, I found out they were furious over the money I was supposedly sending. My sister Mira, they claimed, sent them as much as $12,000 each month, while they thought I only contributed a meager 80 cents. But that wasn't true. I had been sending $12,000 every month, just like Mira. You must be lying, they insisted. Mira, with her modeling career, makes more than you. She sends us $12,000 a month. We are so disappointed in you. Mira is so thoughtful, my father grumbled, clearly upset. My mom joined in too, criticizing my lifestyle. Do you think it's okay to just live on your own, splurging your money? Why can't you be more like your sister? She cares about us so much, she sighed heavily. I've always felt that they favored Mira. She was stunning, turning heads wherever she went, while I was often overlooked. People always compared us, praising her beauty and joking about how plain I looked next to her. From a young age, it was clear to everyone that Mira was destined for success in acting or modeling. My parents doted on her, always making sure she had the newest, trendiest clothes and enrolling her in any class she wanted. Meanwhile, I made do with hand-me-downs and no classes at all. Mira grew up spoiled and entitled, believing that what was mine was also hers. She'd take my things without asking, and when I protested, my parents would just tell me, "Let it go, Amanda. She's younger. Be a good older sister." They dismissed my feelings so easily, always siding with her. Over the years, this favoritism only got worse. In elementary school, when Mira decided she wanted her room, my parents didn't hesitate to displace me. They moved me to the living room, justifying it by saying I didn't have many belongings and there was enough space for me to sleep. The living room, where I slept among old family portraits, was my new bedroom. Feeling overlooked and undervalued, I eventually decided to stop sending money home, hoping to make a point. I'm Amanda, a 31-year-old working at a food processing company, living with the weight of being the less favored child, while my stunning sister Mira, 6 years my junior, enjoyed the limelight and affection that I never felt from our parents. Despite the cold treatment and harsh comparisons, I carried on, holding on to the memory of my grandparents who had always cherished me dearly. Growing up, my name, Amanda, was chosen by my grandfather during the vibrant spring season when Amandas were blooming. He adored these flowers, and their resilience resonated with him. As a child, I loved sitting on his lap, enveloped in his warmth and listening to his comforting words. "Amanda," he would say, "no matter how tough things get, you can always push through. After the hardships, happiness will bloom again, just like Amandas in spring." These words from my grandfather came back to me often, especially during difficult times. As I grew older, it became evident that my parents treated me and my sister, Mira, very differently. I never really felt at home in my own house. When I expressed my dream of becoming a school nurse and wanted to discuss university entrance exams, my parents immediately dismissed the idea. "We can't afford university fees for you. Think about your sister, Mira. We need to save for her future," they insisted, though financially, we were an average family, not struggling by any means. My dreams were pushed aside to prioritize Mira's aspirations. After high school, while Mira went off to a prestigious university, I entered the workforce, landing a job at a small to medium-sized company a few train stops away from her home. Eventually, I moved out and rented a small studio apartment near work. It was a relief to be on my own, away from the constant comparisons and favoritism at home. Mira, meanwhile, flourished at university and was soon scouted by a talent agency during a shopping trip with friends. My parents were over the moon, constantly talking about her modeling career. One day, Mira called me, her voice full of excitement and gratitude. "We owe everything to Mom and Dad," she said. "Let's start giving them $12,000 each month to show our appreciation." The amount shocked me. $12,000 was a lot of money, and while modeling might pay well, I was only making about $6,000 a month at my job. If I agreed, I'd have to cut my expenses drastically, and even then, I'd need to find extra income. Reluctantly, I decided to take on weekend work as a security guard at a construction site. The job paid well, but was physically grueling. Summers were scorching, and winters bitterly cold. Many times, I thought about quitting. Despite the difficulties, I continued, driven by a mix of family loyalty and the desire to not feel lesser than my sister. Deep down, I clung to my grandfather's words, hoping that after these hard times, happiness would once again bloom for me, just like the Amandus of spring. Despite the challenges of balancing a demanding job and certification studies with little sleep, my coworkers showed unexpected kindness. They often bought me drinks and food, realizing the effort I was putting in. I was doing everything I could to save money, cutting back on eating out and other unnecessary expenses, but reaching the monthly $12,000 I promised to send home was still a stretch. Determined to boost my income, I decided to earn a professional certification. I dedicated every spare moment to studying, the days blurring into a fast-paced mix of work and learning. In this hectic schedule, I missed several calls from my parents. When I finally had a moment to call them back, I was met with immediate anger. "You are horrible. What do you think of us?" my father yelled as soon as I answered, with my mother's voice echoing in agreement in the background. Confused, I asked, "What's wrong? Are you talking about the money I send?" I couldn't understand their anger. "Do you know how much Mira is sending? $12,000, and you send just 80 cents. Are you mocking us?" my father accused. "That's impossible. I am sending $12,000 monthly," I replied firmly, shocked by their claims. "Don't lie. Mira earns more than you from her modeling, so she's the one sending us $12,000 each month. I'm really disappointed in you." "Mira is so smart," my father continued, his tone full of disappointment. My mother chimed in, criticizing my lifestyle and accusing me of not caring about the family as much as Mira did. I was dumbfounded and overwhelmed by sadness, unable to articulate a response. It then dawned on me that there had been a huge misunderstanding. Previously, Mira had suggested we keep our contributions anonymous under the pseudonym Rainbow. At the time, I didn't realize Myra's stage name was Rain, and it turned out the transactions of 80 cents were mistakenly recorded under my name, Amanda, while Mira was credited with the $12,000 contributions. Before I could explain the mix-up, my parents declared they didn't need my mocking 80 cents and hung up. I felt a mix of anger and betrayal towards Mira for not clarifying our arrangement, which left me sleepless and filled with turmoil. Unsure whether to continue sending money, I decided to seek advice from my high school friend, Scarlett, who worked at a consulting firm. Scarlett was known for her capability and reliability, and she always gave frank, just advice. Scarlett was surprised when I requested a sudden meeting. "What happened?" she asked, noticing my distressed expression as we met for lunch. I opened up about the family situation, explaining the misunderstanding about the money. After hearing my story, Scarlett responded thoughtfully, "Are your parents struggling financially? Aren't they still in their 80s? She was also stunned by the $12,000 amount and mentioned, "It seems like they have debts. It's money spent on us." As we continued to talk, Scarlett helped me consider different perspectives and possibilities, offering me a valuable outside viewpoint on an emotionally charged situation. When my sister Mira first suggested that we send money to our parents as a token of our gratitude, I discussed it with my friend Scarlett over lunch. Scarlett looked surprised and offered a comforting perspective. "You say it's money spent on both of you, but you didn't even go to university, right? Isn't it mostly on Mira? And your dad is still working too. There's no need to send $12,000 a month. It's unimaginable that they suddenly need that much money when they've been living just fine so far." Her words made sense, especially when she pointed out that if my parents thought my contribution was just 80 cents, perhaps I should take their hint and stop the payments. "You're too kind, Amanda. You shouldn't let yourself be pushed around," Scarlett advised. Her words struck a chord with me, and I resolved not to be swayed so easily by family pressure. 3 months later, my phone rang incessantly one morning. It was Mira, clearly angry. "Why haven't you been answering your phone all morning? And why did you stop sending money on your own? "What were you thinking?" she demanded, her frustration evident. Overwhelmed by my own life challenges and financial struggles, I felt the weight of her accusations. I had learned from Scarlett that Myra's so-called financial contributions were more about maintaining her pride and our parents' extravagant habits rather than necessity. Scarlett, who was also an acquaintance of a friend of Myra's, had been discreetly gathering information for me. She discovered that Myra frequently splurged on clothes and cosmetics, complaining to her friends, "My big sister is my source of funds, so I rely on her money. Lately, I've been struggling because I don't have money for my sister. I might have to cut back on facials and cosmetics for a while." It also came to light that my mother was indulging in luxury brands, and my father was not working but gambling. Supporting their wasteful lifestyles with my hard-earned money felt absurd. "Do you think I don't know Dad is working, so my money isn't needed, right?" I confronted them. A week later, my parents approached me after the $12,000 monthly payments had stopped. They had finally talked to Myra, who, through tears, admitted that she hadn't been making nearly as much as she claimed and that she was a burden on her modeling agency. Despite her cute appearance, she lacked talent in singing or dancing, which hindered her success in the entertainment industry. Her modeling gigs were sporadic and low-paying, often for inexpensive online catalogs. The truth of her situation led to a sharp turn in my parents' attitudes. "We've been strict with Myra. You don't worry and continue sending money as before," they said, unapologetically demanding the 3 months of payments I had withheld. Their audacity astounded me. They even added, "We've prepared for 3 months, so please deposit it when you can. You are reliable after all." Their unrelenting greed prompted me to question them further about their financial status, something that had been nagging at me. "I heard from Myra that there was some debt. Is that true?" I inquired, seeking clarity on the family's financial matters. "Debt? There's no way. We covered the tuition with your grandparents' inheritance," they responded dismissively. This conversation revealed the deep discrepancies between what I was led to believe and the reality of my family's financial and moral landscape. It became clear that I needed to make decisions based not just on familial obligation but on a fair assessment of the actual needs and the truth behind the requests for money. My father stated confidently that Myra's claims about our parents having debt were simply untrue. "We just need a bit more for shopping," my mother added casually, since they believed my father's salary was sufficient. It was evident that they were managing fine financially without needing any contribution from me. "Why does Amira get a full-time job then?" I questioned, feeling increasingly frustrated with the situation. My father sharply retorted, "Is that how you speak to your own parents? I didn't raise a daughter to act like this." My mother echoed his sentiment. "We don't need a daughter like you if you're going to be like that." Then, they threatened to use the savings that my grandfather had left specifically for me, saying, "We'll just use your grandfather's savings for you. You're no longer part of this family." They expressed their willingness to cut ties over this, which left me deeply shocked and hurt. After they left, I broke down, feeling utterly disposable and questioning my value to my own family. 3 months of silence passed before my doorbell unexpectedly rang. Standing there were my parents and Myra. I hesitated but opened the door, puzzled by their worn and tired appearances, which contrasted sharply with my improved situation. Since they last saw me, I have been working hard, studying diligently to obtain a small business consultant certification, which significantly boosted my salary. Scarlett had helped me land a new job where I was now a team leader, enjoying a fulfilling work life and even considering moving closer to work to a better apartment. "What's with the luxury?" my parents and Myra asked almost accusatorially, noticing my nicer clothes and healthier appearance. "Before you indulge in such luxuries, give us some money," they demanded, pleading for financial help as if entitled to it. They seemed desperate, yet unapologetic about their direct demands. Disgusted with their attitude, I confronted them. "With Dad's and Myra's income, you can live comfortably. What's really going on?" I challenged. Myra, tears welling up, revealed her ongoing struggles in the modeling industry, which were far harsher than she had let on. She had been scouted by another agency and decided to invest a significant sum to join, believing it would kickstart her acting career. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a scam, and the agency vanished with their money, leaving no traces behind. At that moment, someone from a consumer finance company appeared at my door, asking if I was related to them as they had traced my address. It turned out my family had borrowed a large sum, hoping Myra's career would turn around quickly. Furthermore, Mira had been spending lavishly at nightclubs to relieve stress, worsening their financial woes. I was astounded by their reckless behavior and irresponsibility. When the finance agent asked if I was family, I firmly stated, "I don't know these people at all. I have nothing to do with them." It was a harsh response, but necessary to protect myself from the consequences of their actions. This moment marked a definitive break, not just emotionally but legally, from the destructive patterns of my family. After the tumultuous events, my parents found themselves filing for bankruptcy. Their debts were wiped clean, but as a consequence, they had to sell our family home and move into a modest apartment. Despite everything, both of them managed to find jobs through a temp agency and were making ends meet. Ironically, my father ended up working at the construction site where I had previously worked part-time. On his first day, he was greeted with, "Ah, it's the old man. Help me out here. There used to be a young lady here before, but she quit." She worked hard, sending money to her parents. I'd love to see the faces of parents who'd make their daughter work here. My father's expression hardened upon hearing this. Meanwhile, Mira, having abandoned her modeling aspirations, tried her luck in the nightlife scene. Unfortunately, her self-centered traits didn't sit well with customers, and she was quickly dismissed from various clubs and lounges, eventually scraping by with earnings from a small bar. Her lifestyle led to noticeable changes in her appearance, and among the regulars, tales of her modeling days seemed like distant, almost unbelievable memories. "A model? Who are you kidding? Look in the mirror," they would mock. As for me, I severed ties with my family and focused on building my own life. 6 years later, I found myself at Scarlett's wedding, held in a scenic chapel in Tampa, USA, overlooking the sea. The vast blue stretched before us, and the atmosphere was charged with a sense of new beginnings. Next to Scarlett stood her husband, beaming with pride. Scarlett, who had been focusing on her career, had unexpectedly fallen in love with a colleague. During the wedding, she leaned over to me and said with a radiant smile, "Amanda, you should also face your feelings. I achieve everything I want on my own and quickly discard what I don't need." Her husband chimed in jokingly, "Don't throw me away, okay?" Scarlett's wedding was a celebration of freedom, the freedom she helped me find. I expressed my heartfelt gratitude. "Scarlett, be happy. I'm really grateful to you." It was a joyous occasion, and as the festivities drew to a close, Scarlett introduced me to a friend of theirs, Ethan, or Ethan as he was known. Tall, well-built, with a charming smile, he ran an architectural firm. "I wanted to introduce Ethan to you, Amanda. Your personalities are almost the same," Scarlett joked, sparking laughter among us. Ethan and I connected instantly and decided to grab a meal together. As we talked and laughed, I felt a sense of hope and excitement bloom within me, much like the Amandus my grandfather so loved. Moving forward, I plan to embrace both work and love, determined to live life to its fullest. "Grandpa, please keep watching over me from above. I'll make sure to blossom fully," I whispered to myself, a smile spreading across my face as I looked forward to the future.